Bill Hernandez.
Luis Maldonado, a foreigner. How the hell are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Everything, a lot going on.
Bro, I could imagine, man. So much has gone on in the last few months, and yeah, that's why we're here to talk about it, keep people updated. Because I remember, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, this was Foreigner's final tour, and it's still going on, man.
Still going on. Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's see. When did we last talk? How long ago was it when we last talked?
I believe it might have been March or May, something like that.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So it's. I mean, a lot's happened since then. First of all, how are you doing? Everything good with you?
Everything's good. Back when we last talked, we had just transferred our offices of 31 years from Fort Lauderdale to Dallas, Texas. It's been very interesting, very welcoming. Still trying to adapt because you've toured all throughout Florida, and when you get down to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, everything's kind of stacked on top of each other. They're just constantly building, building, building. Whereas here,
That's right.
everything is extremely spaced out. You have land, and to walk somewhere is kind of hard. You need to drive because everything is so wide open. So it's been really great, and thank you so much for asking. And I mean, we're just excited to let everyone know that you and Foreigner are going to be at the Choctaw Casino in Oklahoma, October
That's
3rd
right.
and 4th. So this is great because it's a 2-day run. It's a really, really amazing venue. Even if you're in the last row of this place, you still have a great seat. Sound,
Yeah.
acoustics, everything's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think I remember. I think we. I know we've played it before, and I think this is one of the ones that you're right. When you look out, you can actually. It's almost like you can make contact with everybody. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And since there's so much to talk about, let's just get people caught up. I mean,
Great.
you joined Foreigner as a guitarist, what, in 2021? Somewhere around
In
there?
2021, I joined them as originally as a multi instrumentalist. To play bass, guitar, keys when needed, sing. A big portion of it was singing.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that was originally, you know, my entrance into Foreigner,
Yeah,
and
which now you're stepping in, or you've already stepped into the role of lead vocalist. I mean, what has that transition meant to you personally and artistically?
wow, it's not a it's not an easy one to answer because there's so many dimensions to that.
Hmm.
Um, First of all, I never imagined that this was going to be the next step for me or even for Foreigner.
Hmm.
Um, but it was kind of one of these things that just very organically too. It was very organic the way it all unfolded, and you know where I'm at with it now is I'm excited um, because there's so much, there's still so much work to do, and I'm excited for all the things that are opening up for this band, especially since the Rock Hall.
Yeah.
Um, you know, there's this great new synergy between Lou Graham and us, and
Yes.
we're going to be doing shows together. So there's a lot to be excited about, and one of the things that has um, been significant to me personally is the fan response.
Hmm.
When we started this summer tour where you know we made this announcement. I think it was back in May when we did The Voice, right? And Kelly and I both
Yes.
sang
Hmm.
uh, on, live, and we made the announcement live on TV. And the response has been overwhelmingly positive, and not only has it been positive, but we've also started really hitting a trajectory of younger audiences because of that. And there's this whole couple new generations discovering Foreigner for the first time. So there's that. But the most significant thing for me is when I talk to fans personally, whether it's before a show or after a show, when you run into them or they send messages or whatever, and all of them are excited that Foreigner is going to continue. And they've seen me sing. They've seen me sing all summer long, and they've seen footage and they've seen clips, and all of them overwhelmingly have said, "This is fantastic. This is right." And they're grateful for Kelly. They're grateful that the band's going to keep going, and they're grateful that there's this new energy with Lou, and just there's a lot to be grateful for. And honestly, it feels like there's this magic happening around the band right now, and I'm just kind of witnessing it. And I want to just keep growing. I want to keep growing with the band, and I want to keep growing as an artist, and I want to keep growing as a human being. So it's all great and positive. When you see things like that, you just kind of want to reinforce it and work harder and do as much as you can to build. And I feel like we still have a lot of building to do, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it's amazing because where it looked like Foreigner was getting ready to say, you know what, we've had our run, these 40 plus years, with Mick still, of course, he's still heavily involved in the band and what's going on. Yes. He's not up on stage playing, and there was that thing with Mick and Lou and everything until they got to the Songwriters Hall of Fame and were kind of reunited, and whatever was going on is now in the past. And it just seems that where Foreigner looked like it was the end of the road, now here you come along taking over as singer, and now it's like the dawn of a new day. Everything is just starting up again. And now here comes Lou back into the picture. And it's very, very, very exciting for not only Foreigner fans, but classic rock fans. People of my age Absolutely. That are like 55 or, every day we're like, man, we're getting older and all our bands are just kind of quitting or they're not playing anymore. And here comes this great, I don't want to say resurgence because Foreigner's never gone away, but it's lit a fire, on the gas there, and everything's starting to explode and turn into big things for the band.
It's interesting that you say resurgence because I agree with you. I don't think it's necessarily a resurgence. I do believe it's for, like I said, there's a couple of younger generations, a discovery for them. So for them, it's all kind of like, oh, wow, this band that has been around, wow, and they're buying the tickets now. They're not coming along as like, the teenage kid along with their parent they're coming on their own. I mean, we're looking at 30s, 40-year-olds coming to these shows, and they're like discovering the band in a whole new way. So it's definitely a new discovery in many ways. And even for us, like, that we're discovering how much people love the music, because really it's about the music. And, I think again, when kind of the band came back together, with this current lineup at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we all, played on stage together, there was this realization that the music was stronger than any one part of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I don't think I ever would have really considered singing unless I had the belief of Mick, which I do, and Lou and Kelly and the band and anybody else involved. I mean, if it was just one guy or somebody in management saying, yeah, you could do this, but it was never like that. So I'm kind of, I've been in the band, so it's coming from inside the band, but not only that, but the belief that like, this is the right decision to keep moving mm-hmm. is shared by every single person within this organization. So it's really cool to see not just the belief on the inside of the band, but also on the outside with the fans. So yeah, I mean, like I said, Lou coming out and as a guest, on these shows and not only that, but there's just a really great energy right now, and it's hard to pin down what exactly it is, but we all see it. I mean, every single person involved sees it, recognizes it, is grateful for it, and moving forward with it. It's really awesome.
And you guys are one big happy family. I mean, you never hear anything controversial within the band or anything like that.
No, not at all. I mean, there's some stuff out there, right? This like clickbait stuff that they're trying to get
Sure.
people, you know what I mean? And we've seen it. And in fact, Kelly and I were backstage laughing at a couple of them that we've seen on YouTube and whatnot, where, they're saying Kelly's saying certain things. And I mean, there's some really absurd things, right?
Yeah.
But we're like, here we are backstage laughing about it, going, oh my God, I didn't know you had a daughter, dude. Like, look, stuff that's not even, it's stuff that's completely not even like true or real. And we're like, how did they get that? Like, it's just crazy. But to go back to what you're saying, it is absolutely a family. We know historically bands that have been together for a long, long time, there's always something or some drama or some disconnect, right?
Yeah.
And the thing with this lineup specifically, that has been together for over 20 years now, right?
Yeah.
There has been nothing but it really is a special group of people that are together. And it's you hear things like family or a brotherhood, and it really is true. I don't believe that we would be in such a positive place to keep moving forward if it wasn't that. But the fact that it is does lend to many great things happening. First and foremost within the band,
Mm-hmm.
and that we all believe, and we all feel great about what we do, and there's a great connection between all the parts in it. You hear horror stories about like the band was in arguments with the manager. There's nothing in that. There's some great synergy here between the guys in the band management, families, everything, and that does a lot. That makes room for a lot. And I think, we go out there having a great love and respect, not just for each other, but, the music, why we're even there, why we're even there is primarily because of Mick. I mean, I don't know if I've shared this with you, but Mick handpicked every single one of us in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And even to this very position where I'm singing, he was the deciding factor. And believe me, he doesn't make decisions on the fly. He doesn't make decisions, well, this will work. He's very meticulous. Anybody who's worked with him, anybody who's been in the studio with him, or, you could even ask him, he's very meticulous about each decision and each note. And so it comes with great care. And that's why I mentioned earlier, like, having his belief in me meant a lot, because it wasn't just, it wasn't just, it didn't just happen. It definitely was a beautiful, organic thing. And yeah, man, there's a lot that could be said about that still.
Yeah, and not to mention also that you guys have a really fantastic road crew. Your roadies and everybody that takes care of everything. Is Melissa still tour manager for you guys?
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah, we'll see her this weekend. But yeah, our crew. Honestly, our crew is just as involved. They're an awesome bunch of guys that have been with us for years and years. It's really awesome to see that, because again, it'd be different if, you were constantly swapping out people and whatnot, but that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
And everybody that's involved, we all know each other's families and kids, and we all, we there's definitely a very beautiful and strong union within this whole foreigner camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just amazing, and we're just happy that it's going to continue to move along. And I want to ask you, since we have young blood at the helm now, any new material coming out, or any thoughts about writing some new stuff?
Oh, absolutely. There's things in the works. and that kind of also propelled itself as well. There's songs in the vault that Mick and Lou wrote, right? That have never been finished or released, and we're talking about things like that. And there's actual new material that is being talked about as well. So there's definitely a lot of creativity. There's just a lot to start uncovering, and we're starting to uncover all this kind of inertia of sorts, that like, wow, I didn't know that this song existed. We should do this. Yeah, we should do that. It's a trip. It's a real trip to see that there's a lot that still could be offered to the fan base and just the music world.
Yeah, I love the fact that you had done the song half in Spanish and half in English. I mean, maybe some new material with like one or two of those in there would be amazing.
There's talks about that. Gosh, I forgot to even mention that. I mean, that was again another organic thing. We had booked this tour in Mexico and South America, and there was this idea. It's like, hey, why don't we, to the fans, offer a song, one of our songs in Spanish, just as a special thing, and it started off kind of as a one-off thing, and and the response was overwhelmingly positive. And especially when we're already touring down there, and I sang some of the verses in Spanish, and it really we didn't see that coming, or we didn't see how positive that it was going to be. So we did another one, and then we're working on another one. So there might be more, but we're just we're taking it a step at a time. We want to make sure that everything we do connects.
Yeah, of
and
course.
That comes a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think
because at the end of the day, the music, it's really about the music connecting with people, and that's what we serve.
Absolutely, and it had to be a little scary at first to come out in front of all these people and say, we're going to take one of these great songs and we're gonna add some Spanish to it. Even though your audience, Mexico, South America, it still had to be scary for the acceptance of that.
I don't know if it was scary. I definitely when we talked about it, when we were in talks about doing that, I had mentioned, because I'm bilingual in Spanish and in English, and I said, listen, because I've heard other artists do crossover stuff, right? And predominantly, from Spanish to English. And there's always a lost in translation thing that happens. So you go, man, if they could only translate the Spanish into what it really says into English. That's the biggest hurdle, right? Yeah. And I've heard, some artists, do songs and the other way around, from English to Spanish, and the same thing happens. If the translation isn't as close to the meaning that it was intended, then you do have slight disconnect, and it can only land so far.
Sure.
So when we were talking about this, I had mentioned, guys, I'm happy to do this as long as the translation is right, because you can translate it very simple and you can translate it literally, but those two things don't, unless it's translated right, you can't really convey the original intention, nuance, meaning, and feeling of the song. And there's also the sound phonetically of how words come out of your mouth as you're singing. So it's not just a simple thing of translating it. It's about translating everything so that it has the same exact impact as the original.
Sure.
So that was the work. That was the hard work. And I knew that I knew that if we had done the work right, that we the worst that could happen is it could be a great song again and done in Spanish. And we worked with this gentleman named Chris Zayas, who was doing the translations, and we had gone through about 4 or 5 different translations before we landed on the right one, where we all felt, okay, no, this is right, and it sounds right, and the meaning is still there, and the sentiment is still. So we really turned over every stone to make sure that it was going to it was going to stay at the great standard that the song was at already.
Yes.
And if we and I said, if we do more, we have to approach every single song like that. So it's a lot of work, but totally worth it when the impact is positive,
Yeah, and I'm glad that, like I said, it might have been a little scary, but I love the fact that you said, you know what, I have this idea, we're going to do it, and I'm real positive about it. You went in with no negativity. You're like, hey, you know what, I'm going to come out and I'm going to do this for these people, and I think they're going to love it, and look at the result.
The result has been great. I mean, again, I don't think anybody really knew how positive the result would be, because again, it came from a very pure intentions, a very pure thing of let's share something, because again, you don't see a lot of English singing artists or bands crossing over to Spanish. You just don't.
No,
it's not really a common thing. A few people do it, but not with the intention of going all the way. And we kind of said, well, if we're going to do this song, let's go all the way. And it's really awesome to see. It's really awesome to see the response.
Mm-hmm. Luis, man, I could talk to you all day. I know you're a busy guy and you got things to do. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with Hard Rock Reviews again today, and for talking with me. Let's remind everyone that Foreigner will be at the Choctaw Casino October 3rd and 4th. Tickets are like really, really flying, so I would definitely get on that. And there's a reason why it's a 2-night show, because you guys could probably sell out 4 at this place. So
it's been really great. Things have been just growing really, really great, and we're really grateful for that.
That's awesome. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you one of those nights. It'll probably be the Friday night show, so that we can write about it after and
perfect.
Put it up in advance of the Saturday show. And Foreigner always does this, but I'd like to ask. We like to do giveaways. Wondering if the band would sign a guitar that we can provide to do as a giveaway on our website.
Yeah, try and connect with. Contact Vanessa so she can get a hold of either Melissa or somebody in management to get all that situated.
All right.
I think that's the best route to do it, because I wouldn't know where to grab a guitar.
Yeah, we're going to bring a guitar and everything, but I usually deal with Melissa or John Lappin or Vanessa.
Yeah, definitely. Like, contact them, make sure that they can have it all set up so we can do something like that.
Wonderful, man. I look forward to seeing you because I've never met you, so that would be great. And looking forward to an amazing freaking show. And and we're going to see all those generations out there just rocking away, man. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right. Safe travels to you on the road and the guys, Luis, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, Bill. Great talking to you.
Cheers, buddy. Later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.